Girl, let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Talk. How are you guys doing, wonderful people? How are you? Welcome back to another episode. Christmas is in 2 days when I'm recording this, and I am about to go to Walmart, do some last minute Christmas shopping for my niece and everything. Honestly, this year I'm learning that Christmas for kids because, child, I'm tired. Because everything's like, oh, how to please her. And so funny, she's like the sweetest girl ever. She has a very pure heart and everything. And she's like, oh, Grando, you got that for me. You know, that's usually her response to things. So I am excited to see her reaction on Christmas Day. So it's going to be fun. And she's 4 years old, so she knows what Christmas tree are. She knows, she knows a lot of stuff, that little girl. So yeah, but child, let's talk. So the title of this episode will be, I am not a feminist. And wait a second, before you you click away, hear me out. This all started, I was talking to this guy, and we were having a conversation about something, right? And black guy, by the way. And there was some, I don't remember how the conversation started, but I think it was about like opening doors, right? And I was like, oh, I expect the guy to open the door for me, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, and then he was like, oh, I don't open doors and everything. I'm like, yeah, I can't, like, I believe in chivalry. I believe that the man should go above and beyond to make the girl feel welcome and wanted and everything, because he was the type of person who believed that his role as a man to be like a financial provider, and I've always been like turned off by that, and so he makes a comment. He's like why do you need your doors to be open? Aren't you a feminist? Oh yeah. And so I was like, actually, no, I'm not. And he was flabbergasted, right? He's like, oh, you modern woman, you think that you want this, you want that. You guys want the best of everything. You want to work, you want to do this, you want to do that and everything. And now like, and then you are expecting me to crawl for you. And I feel like you guys just want to be men and you want to take over so you can open your own door. Now, I ain't talking to that motherfucker ever again. But before I stopped talking to him, I had to explain to him why I was not a feminist, right? And I'm going to mention I'm going to talk about two different themes. Men, and first of all, you know what? Let me scratch that. Boys thinking that a woman having the ability to make for herself is equating her to being a man is not a real man. It's not. They may have a penis, but it's not the size that is satisfactory for function. A man, again, scratch that, a boy who has the mentality of, oh, because you're educated, because you work, because you do so and so and so, you're trying to be a man, and they try to use that to kind of like take away your womanhood, is not a man, is a boy. You're talking to an 8-year-old, you're talking to a 6-year-old, you're talking to a 4-year-old. They don't know better. They are not men yet. Because, again, I always talk about this. I grew up around women. Women were walking for miles to fetch for water. That's not a sign of weakness. Maybe fetching water is not the same as making 80K, 100K, or having a business and all of that. But to me, it taught me that a person, regardless of gender, a person have to work hard for their own lives. Coming from where I come from, my history, my personal history, when there were days that we did not have food, my dreams was to never go hungry again. I've dreamt about traveling. I've dreamt about going to New York City to celebrate my birthday. I've dreamt about seeing the Eiffel Tower. And in all of those dreams, it was about me and what I could give to myself. Because again, African kids, we are raised to go to school, get a good job, so you can have a better life. Not so that your husband can give you a better life. Those of us who are raised to go to school, that's the trajectory. Yes, you're expected to get married. Yes, you're expected to get married to a good man, to a man who's going to be financially stable to provide you with things. But we're also taught that we should be able to provide stuff for you. Before my mother was a stay-at-home mom, I saw her work. My grandmother was a journalist. All of the females in my family are educated. Not this generation, some of them are not. But like my aunts, they're all educated. My aunt is a doctor, is a surgeon. My other aunt is a journalist, just like my grandmother. Like my other aunt was working, in an office and everything. So I saw women work. Even in a refugee camp, I saw women start businesses. Selling food is a business, right? We call it restoration. It's a business. Going to the market to sell the produce is a business. So I saw women do that. So me working has never been a gender thing. I don't even see it as a gender thing. I see it as a person thing. In church, when the pastor speaks, he's talking to both men and women. God gave you a gift, use your gift. I rarely, and I'm only talking about my personal life. I've rarely been in a situation where people taught me that popping babies was a gift. It was an expectation. My mama still expects to have grandchildren. It was part of my life course. But I've always taught to be self-sufficient. And a way for me to be self-sufficient is being educated, is being able to make money. Because let's say I get married, something happens to my husband, right? So do I just stay home and be like, well, since I'm a woman, I can't do anything? Would you rather I go to work or I depend on social services? What would you rather? What would you rather? It is said in the Bible the woman was created to be a helper. Helper doesn't just mean cleaning the house. Helper doesn't mean cooking. Child, I can cook. I'm a great cook. I know a girl who's getting married who can cook. All she wanted was to get a husband. She got it, but she can't cook. She can't do anything. I'm African. We are well-rounded women. We can cook. We can clean. We can make sure everything is good in the house, and we can work and make money. So if you equate me having the ability to gift myself the pleasure of life, as to me wanting to be a man, you're an idiot. And I don't talk to you. You can kiss my ass. And the fact that you feel like, oh, because I can do this, that absolve you from being charming, from being generous, from being, in French we say serviable, right? Serviable is somebody who can be able to be of help, of somebody, of service. Then you are a fucking idiot. You are a fucking idiot. Because I believe that I should be in service to you, regardless of what that service will look like. And you should be in service to me. Again, you are forgetting that I am raised to be educated, to do this and to do that. But I'm also raised to have a man who caters to me. All the men who have contributed to my education, my male teachers, the men in my communities, those people that I see as father figures, they taught me to expect that you open the door for me because they open the door for their wives who also have jobs. I remember when I was dating my ex, he said something, because I remember the first time I cooked for him, he was like, oh my God, I didn't expect you to know how to cook. I was like, why? He's like, oh yeah, because smart women who are, who are career driven don't know how to cook usually. Like, they don't know how to be like, in the home and stuff like that. And that was his reason for wanting to marry me, because he was like, yeah, I can depend on you for like, financial stuff and everything, and also for you to be like a housewife, quote unquote, and everything. And I remember it made me laugh because I was just like, yeah, I can cook it, but motherfucker, I won't be cooking for your ass every day. This is a treat because you're just a boyfriend, right? And I can, it's funny because you're just like, oh yes, because it's always one or the other. Are you a housewife or are you a career woman? Are you a traditional woman or are you a modern woman? And this guy I was talking to was just baffled by the fact that a human being can be complex. I can want to work and have a good career and go higher in the corporate ladder and be able to be and wanting my doors to be open or him to pay on dates and stuff like that. And the thing is, I've paid on dates. I don't mind that. A couple of guys that I talk to, they'd be like, they would be so surprised that, oh, you can be homie, you know how to cook, you know how to clean, you have quote unquote woman tendency. And I'm just like, who the fuck do you think you be talking to? Child, I'm an African girl. I'm raised to do all of that, right? So that's the one thing that I wanted to address. So this idea that feminists are just, power hungry people, they want to beat men and everything. And let me tell you something. Let me play the devil's advocate. Some girls do that. Some do. I have a brother, and some behavior that some women exercise, I wouldn't want them near my brother. Some men do. Some women see that because they have something that they should have power over you, right? Some women think that you should cater to them just because they're pretty, or you should go above and beyond for them just because they're pretty. Motherfucker, let me tell you something. Beauty fades. I don't even like pretty girls, except for myself, because I'm cute. But I never like her. I've never really been cool with girls who only use their beauty. And it's not that I look down upon that, but I'm just like, and in 20 years you will not look like that, right? So those girls who feel like, oh, you should cater to me because I'm pretty, because I'll give you my vagina and everything. Again, I think about it this way. What else do you bring? What do you bring to the table? Because you can't just bring beauty. Will I trust my brother? Will I trust you to take care of my brother? If my brother get in a car accident and he's crippled, like, what are you going to do to help him? Like what? So I think it goes both ways. That's how I think of it. Because when I say I want to be a partner to somebody, I want to be a partner. I do. That's what I want. I want you to be my partner. I want to be your partner. So that's that. Now let's get to the root of the discussion. Why do I not see myself as a feminist, right? As a Black woman, as an African woman, as a triple, quadruple, hectuple, if that's a word, woman, when you say feminism is about equality between the sexes, who am I supposed to be equal to? Who am I measuring myself to? In this claim of equality, who am I measuring myself to? Am I measuring myself to a Black man? Am I measuring myself to a white man? Am I measuring myself to a white woman? Who exactly am I going to be equal to? Did you guys get that? Do you guys understand? Because in this conversation, we're talking about intersectionality, right? But you have to remember, when the feminist movement started, Black women were not accounted for. And as a Black woman, as an African woman, as a Congolese woman who's living in the West, I cannot detach myself between my race and my gender. Should I say it again? White women can be a woman. Black women cannot. Black women cannot be just a woman. An African woman cannot be just a woman. We have a prefix to our womanhood. We have another things that define us. That when we look at issues, we cannot just look at it from the perspective of being a woman or from the identity of being a woman. Because woman is an objective identity, right? Us as Black women, us as immigrants, us as African, of Congolese, whatever objective identity you want, we cannot just be a woman. There is a prefix to our womanhood. Therefore, that prefix dictates who exactly are we trying to be equal to. As a Congolese woman, am I trying to be equal to the Western woman? As a Black woman, am I trying to be equal to a white woman? As an immigrant woman, am I trying to be equal to a native-born woman? Who am I trying to be who in this equality? Who am I trying to be equal to? Because we face sexism from men and racism even from white women. So for example, have you guys heard of the pink tax? The pink tax is a tax that is placed on feminine products, right? So because it costs more, so the theory is because it costs more to make women product, women should pay more for products, stuff like deodorants and all of that, right? When a black woman make less than a white woman, the withdrawal, the pocket of the black woman suffers even more than the pocket of the white woman, right? So again, in this generalized idea of feminism, who am I trying to be equal to? Who? Do you guys understand why I feel like I'm not a feminist? Or I cannot partake in this idea of feminism? Like, I can partake from an objective standpoint, right? But when white suffragists make impact and everything, they will have the right to vote. But did black women have the right to vote? Because their blackness preceded their womanhood. So they didn't. The other reason why I don't think, or I subscribe to this idea of feminism, because I think it's inherently violent to ask for equality with someone who had decades, hundreds, centuries of years ahead of you. I think it's stupid. I think it's extremely violent. And this is how I know men are stupid. No offense, we love you, but you're stupid. Men don't even understand that under the rule of equality, they are still further than us in everything. If I ask that we be paid equally, right, for the same job, you make $10, I make $10. At the end of the week, we both get $100. That's equal, right? If we go shop, let's say we go buy a deodorant. Your deodorant costs $10. My deodorant costs, let's say, $25. Are we equal? Have we achieved the equality that we wanted? And yes, someone will say, well, that's why he talks about social equality. What the hell does that mean? I just gave you an example of how me working is taking away from my womanhood. So I don't deserve a man to be chivalrous to me because I want to work. So what social equality do we have there? And I hate that part because they'll be like, well, you can open a door for somebody. I have. Yeah, if I'm going somewhere and someone's behind me, a person's behind me, I do hold the door for them. That's being respectful. But in a dating scenario, a man who's trying to impress me, those things are just are opening doors and everything. It's not just it's to show that you care. It's to show that you care. It's a way that we know that, oh my God, this man is considering me. And when I see you open a door for somebody else, regardless of who they are, it just shows that you're a caring person. Being chivalrous is not just to look cute or to just be romantic. For us, it's a character thing. Because, let's be honest, women love fast and they love easily. They do. We love easily. We do. It is hard for women to be with somebody for years and not love them. But men can do that. So those are signs that, oh, he's taking his time to care for me. to show that he cares. And when I see you do that, like, I remember my ex, one time we went somewhere and he held the door for like everybody that was behind him. Like, you know, after I went, he held the door for everyone. I was like, oh, okay. Because to me, it's not how you treat me alone. It's also how you treat other people. It's your philosophy on others that matters to me, you know? So yeah, just give you an example how even in like people saying like, you know, yeah, well, women should do this too, blah, blah, blah. Yes, they should. And women like me does. But economic equality does not equate social equality, because it takes a very long time for social change to happen. So I ask again, who am I trying to be equal to? Since y'all are not answering, let me tell you my philosophy. I believe in equity. Oh, let me give you another reason why I don't believe in equality, right? Because let's take my field of study, political science and development policies. How can we expect a country that's 60 years old to compete with a country that's 200 years old? What was happening to that 200-year-old country when they were 60-year-old? Were they perfect? Were they in turmoil? How many tries did it take the French Republic to be a republic? We are in the 5th republic in France. They had a monarchy, they had an empire, then they had a monarchy again, then republic, first republic, second republic. Yeah. So how can women we expect to be equal to men when they have had years of third base advantage? It makes no sense. So that's why we should look for equity. Equity means fairness. Do I think women should be paid more in some cases? Yes, until the other stuff get fixed. I don't think that it's fair for us to pay more to have a living. We spend more. So most of us don't have savings accounts. So yeah, that's all I have. See you later. Bye. So guys, I'm gonna add this little snippet. I just got out of the shower and I thought of something, and in this episode, the topic that I introduced was intersectionalities, right? Because when you're a woman, you're a Black woman, you're an immigrant woman, you're a Congolese woman, you're an African woman, like, your idea of equality means something different, right? Because you belong to so many different social groups, right? That is why having this westernized blanket equality between the sexes cannot apply to me, because it fails to address the specific communities and what my relationship with gender and equality looks like in such community. Does that make sense? Like, not only who am I seeking to be equal to, but it's like, how does that equality translate for somebody like me who have to traverse or go through different communities, who have to undertake different identities, or who embodies different subjectivities, therefore different communities, different cultures? What does that mean? Because sometimes when you look at sort of like, you know, Western organization going to other places to fight for equality for women, they go there with their Western viewpoints of what such women need without even consulting the woman that is there. But that is the tail of development everywhere. So, for example, somebody can say, from Western perspective, covering your face, is your woman's rights or anything. So they will fight for that. And some people will agree, right? You look at the women getting rid of their head scarf and everything. They can agree with that. But does that apply with everybody? Maybe some women like covering up. I had a student whose parent will make her wear a hijab and everything. And because they're kids, they're playing, the headscarf would fall, things would happen, because she's like 4 or 5. And whenever we try to send her back home, we try to make sure she still have her headscarf the way she came in. And we do that out of respect for the culture, because that's how the mother wants to present her child as. So are we being backward for doing that? Does that make sense? So that's another reason why feminism cannot work for people like me who have to navigate daily where our intersectionality identity is being performed daily on a daily basis. Does that make sense? I hope this added a constructive perspective. All right, bye now.